Imagine him, calm, composed, completely in control. He's not chasing, he's not begging for a reply. He's not sitting there overthinking what she meant by that last text. He's observing, calculating, moving like a man with nothing to prove. That's how Machiavelli would move today. While everyone else is reacting, guessing, and trying to win someone's attention, he would already be 10 steps ahead, because he understands something most people don't. Power isn't about how loud you are or how much you care. It's about control of your emotions, of your image, of the game. Machiavelli didn't believe in leaving things to luck. He studied power like a weapon. He knew exactly how people behave when they want something, especially when they're desperate for attention, love, or validation. And he knew that the one who can stay calm while everyone else panics wins. That's not coldness, that's power. Most men today don't realize how much they give away just by reacting. One emotional message, one over-explained apology, one moment of weakness, and suddenly you're no longer the one in control. She is. And not because she's smarter or more powerful, but because you exposed your need. You made it easy. You gave up the one thing Machiavelli said you should never lose: your ability to keep your position strong by staying silent, strategic, and emotionally untouchable. That's the difference. This isn't about being fake or manipulative. It's about understanding the game you're already in and deciding to stop playing it blind. Because once you learn how to think like Machiavelli, you'll never chase again. You'll choose. You'll lead. And the world will feel that difference. Most men don't realize they're giving away power every single day. Not through big mistakes, but through small emotional reactions. One needy text, one anxious reply, one moment of doubt. And it's enough to flip the whole dynamic. Why? Because in relationships, control isn't taken, it's surrendered slowly, silently. And Machiavelli saw this coming centuries ago. He warned that if you don't understand how power works, someone else will use that ignorance to control you. And here's the harsh truth. Today, that someone else is often the very person you're trying to impress. Not because she's evil, not because she's playing games, but because power fills the space that weakness leaves open. If you're not aware of your position, someone else will define it for you. And that usually means you're reacting to her mood, her words, her actions, like a puppet waiting for strings to move. That's why this matters. Because most men aren't thinking, they're reacting. They're not leading, they're following. Emotions. And when you do that, you lose the one thing that separates the powerful from the powerless: intention. Machiavelli didn't survive political games by being the strongest. He survived by seeing through masks. He knew the difference between real control and fake confidence. And he would tell you today, if you don't know the game you're in, you've already lost. But here's the good news. Once you see it, once you recognize how often your attention is being pulled, tested, and twisted, you can stop. You can step back. You can take your power off the table. That's when everything changes. You stop chasing answers. You stop explaining yourself. And suddenly she starts wondering, not because you're playing a trick, but because you've become something rare. A man who moves with quiet strength. A man who doesn't flinch. A man who chooses power over approval. Machiavelli didn't write about dating. He wrote about power, how it works, how to keep it, and how to never let others take it from you. But his lessons go far beyond politics. When you look closely, you'll see his principles applied directly to modern relationships. The emotional games, the subtle power shifts, the need to stay calm under pressure. It's all there. What you're about to hear are 6 of his most deadly rules adapted for today. Use them wisely and you'll never be controlled again. Withdraw your emotional currency. She can't spend what you don't offer. Machiavelli believed that the most powerful people were the ones who didn't need anything from anyone. The moment you become emotionally dependent on love, attention, or even a simple text back, you've already given up your position. Most men today are so eager to connect that they don't realize how quickly they surrender their power. They text first. They double text. They worry when she takes too long to reply. They act out of fear of being forgotten, rejected, or replaced. But a man who practices detachment is different. He's not cold or emotionless. He's centered. He doesn't pull away to play games. He simply never gave up his center in the first place. When a woman sees that you're not emotionally chasing her, something powerful happens. She starts paying closer attention. Not because you begged, but because your distance speaks louder than words. You've become unpredictable, and unpredictable means interesting. This doesn't mean ignoring her or pretending you don't care. It means not handing over your peace of mind just because someone pulls back. Strategic detachment is staying focused on your path, even when she's silent. It's continuing your plans, even when she's distant. And it's never allowing your emotions to rise and fall based on her approval. Machiavelli would say, control your needs, and you control the game. The moment you make someone else the source of your validation, you give them the power to destroy you. But when you stop needing her to feel whole, you become something rare, a man who can't be moved. And in a world full of men who react to everything, the one who stays calm becomes unforgettable. Speak less, observe more. Silence is your sharpest blade. Machiavelli knew that words reveal more than we think. The more you speak, the more you expose your thoughts, emotions, and weaknesses. That's why he warned leaders to be careful with their words, to speak only when it gives them an advantage. In modern relationships, the same rule applies. Most men talk too much, explain too much, and apologize too quickly. They try to fix things with words, not realizing that every extra sentence is leaking power. Silence, when used right, is stronger than any argument. When she expects a reaction and you stay calm and quiet, it shifts the energy completely. She may try to provoke you, ask why you're distant, accuse you of not caring, or push you for answers. But when you don't rush to defend yourself, she feels it. That silence forces her to sit with her own thoughts. It creates mystery, and mystery creates interest. Calculated silence doesn't mean ignoring her or playing mind games. It means knowing when to speak and when to stay still. It means letting her wonder instead of always giving her clarity. Because once you stop trying to explain everything, you become more powerful. You're no longer seeking approval, you're commanding presence. Machiavelli would say, never speak when silence can protect you. In today's world, where everyone overshares, the man who stays quiet and focused becomes rare. He's not cold, he's not rude, he's just in control. And that control makes people lean in. Not because you demanded attention, but because your silence made them curious. Keep her guessing. Predictability is a trap. Machiavelli believed that power comes from uncertainty. A ruler who is too predictable becomes easy to manipulate, easy to attack, and easy to replace. The same thing happens in relationships. When a man becomes too routine, always replying the same way, always showing up the same way, always available, he loses his edge. She stops wondering. She knows what's coming. And once she knows, the mystery is gone. So is the attraction. Being unpredictable doesn't mean being unreliable or playing childish games. It means breaking the pattern. Not always being the first to message, not always reacting the way she expects. Maybe one day you're fully present. The next day, you're focused on your goals and unavailable. She doesn't know exactly how you'll respond, and that keeps her engaged. It creates tension, and tension is where interest lives. People are naturally drawn to what they can't fully figure out. If you always do the same thing, she stops thinking about you. But when your actions are calm, intentional, and a little hard to read, she starts paying attention. She starts asking questions. She starts chasing. Machiavelli understood that power lies in movement, never letting anyone fully predict your next step. So move with purpose, but never be too easy to read, because the man who keeps her guessing never gets forgotten. When she pushes, you stand. Tests are invitations to assert your will. Machiavelli believed that every challenge is a chance to show strength, not through force but through composure. In modern relationships, women often test men. It's not always on purpose. Sometimes it's instinct. She wants to see what kind of man you are. Will you fold under pressure? Will you get defensive? Will you chase her when she pulls away? These tests aren't meant to destroy you. They're meant to reveal you. Most men fail these tests without even knowing they were being tested. She acts cold and he overreacts. She makes a sharp comment and he starts explaining. She questions his worth and he tries to prove himself. That's exactly what gives away your power. When you react, you show that she controls your emotions. And the moment she controls your emotions, the dynamic shifts. You become the follower, not the leader. But the man who passes the test doesn't need to fight back. He doesn't need to explain. He doesn't even need to flinch. He hears the insult, the challenge, the silence, and he stands still, calm, unbothered. That stillness isn't weakness. It's strength. It says you can test me, but you won't break me. Eli's girlfriend often made jabs about his goals. One day he looked her in the eye and said, "That kind of talk doesn't belong in my life." She didn't expect it. She backed off. Slowly, sarcasm turned to sincerity. Respect replaced conflict, because when you stop performing for attention, you start commanding presence. These 6 rules aren't about control. They're about composure, clarity, and command. You've learned how to pass her tests, set boundaries, demand respect, and lead with stillness instead of noise. From now on, you're not chasing, you're choosing. You're not reacting, you're orchestrating. That's the essence of true presence, quiet, firm, and undeniable. Machiavelli didn't write for manipulators. He wrote for men who wanted to endure. He understood that real power isn't loud, it's lasting. And if you apply these principles, you won't just impress others. You'll transform yourself. You'll become a man whose value speaks without shouting, whose strength holds without force. A man no storm can shake. Now it's your turn. If you're ready to internalize these lessons, hit subscribe, drop your biggest takeaway in the comments, and step into your new, unshakable self. This isn't about playing games. It's about becoming the kind of man who never has to.